strong smell of drink, but it's probably me. Good evening, Tarrant here, the soothing voice that gently caresses you into your day each morning on Capital 95.8 FM. Just testing if there's any buggers here, really. It's a wonderful old theatre. It's a very traditional theatre, and we always put the dickhead up there. Yeah, OK, I'll write it down. Basically, they asked me to come out tonight to perform three main functions, one of which I've already performed. There are two left now. One is to say, quite sincerely, thank you very much on behalf of Help a London Child, London's charity, that we are starting off tonight. We've already raised apparently £20,000 in this audience this evening. Thank you very much. We are hoping to raise a great deal more during the course of the evening because a number of seasoned pickpockets have been placed amongst you, so that should help. And we've been selling these sort of grubby vests in the foyer. So we are hoping to improve on that total. As you know, this week we really get the whole Help a London Child thing off the ground. This is the last year of Sir Richard Attenborough's chairmanship, so we're trying to go out on a bit of a bang for Dickie. Bit of a bang with Dickie. It's actually very sad for all of us, really, because he's done a marvellous job, apparently. I've met him twice. Well, I'd say met him. I saw him once in the foyer selling I Heart Gandhi T-shirts and pencils. And the other time I did actually... Well, I didn't speak to him. He spoke to me, and we were in the Gentlemen's together. He was sort of standing there like that, and I was standing there like that. Very cold overnight. And I'll never forget it. He gave me a wonderful, warm smile, and he said, "How's it going, Kenny?" We never spoke again, but it's a sad goodbye from all of us. Anyway, I'm here to thank you very much, quite sincerely, on behalf of Help a London Child. We're trying to break all records this year, I'm sure we will. And also, they sent me on first, because basically anybody who comes on after me will be funnier. Anybody at all. If we brought on a stuffed bear now, you would laugh more than you have at me. If we brought on Jeremy Beadle, you would have more fun. Giles Brandreth MP came on now, you would give him a standing ovation. Not that you have that problem tonight, because we have a fine cast for you, an extraordinary number of people, well, a very large number of people, very funny people, all who've given their entire performances tonight for absolutely free. Michael Palin, who's still... Good God, one of his groupies is still alive. Still deciding what his act will be. It certainly wasn't clear on rehearsal. Anyway, he's whittled it down to 3 now. He says he may be eating a bus on stage. He may be doing something very funny with iron filings. Or he may be reading a really dull extract from W.E. Johns. Oh, God, he doesn't choose that one. Anyway, Ben Elton is here later on. Now, Ben is on... I have to tell you, Ben is on particularly fine ranting form tonight! We've actually been taking it turns outside the corridor by his dressing room, walking him up and down on a short length of choke chain. So Ben will be here particularly wild later on this evening. Sandi, Mike McShane's here. But first of all, gentlemen, to mastermind, link through the whole proceedings this evening, because I have to go and, well, basically the pubs are open. A gentleman who has... He's a particularly fine entertainer and broadcaster, actually. I know that's true because he wrote that on the back of a fiver as I came on. He's a gentleman who performs this extraordinary sort of juggling act each week with all the other acts on Whose Line Is It Anyway? He's the star of Clive Anderson Talks Back, which is a bit of a clue to his identity. He's the creator of Stingray and Thunderbirds. Will you welcome Clive Anderson? Yes!
Thank you, Chris Tarrant. Sorry, I don't want to keep that mic. I once did some stand-up, and I got herpes from Alexi's sale, so I'll just use a different one. Write that down for next one. I just sorry, I'm a bit nervous because I'm not used to performing to such an enormous audience because normally I'm on Channel 4. But I wonder, it's a little traditional thing as a charitable, I wonder if you all stand up, please. I'm sorry to, trouble. Can you all stand up, please, everybody? Thank you very much. Thank you, and everybody up in the cheap seats up there. Thank you. Who are charitable, but not as charitable, perhaps. And it's just so as to get to know each other. Can you all turn round, please, and shake hands with the person standing behind you? Just turn around. Okay, relax. That's the... No, this is a big thrill. It's a big thrill for me personally to do a number of things, but to be here this evening because, you know, Theatre Royal Haymark's wonderful. It's legendary in show business. You only really appear here twice in your career, once on your way up, and secondly on your way down. And all I can say is it's good to be back. It's a good show. As Chris, he came along just to do that little bit of the introduction there, and now has to go, bastard. But good to see him. Top DJ, great entertainer, and really nice guy. Those are just three of his ambitions, but that's nice of him to come along. It's a good charity to be at home because I'm all in favour of children because after all I was brought up with them, and I'm all in favour of it. Now it's basically it's a comedy show. We've got the biggest bunch of comedians here outside the election process, and that's if you see that's a magnificent sort of outline of Neil Kinnock there. That was just before he heard the result of the election. I'm just getting this out of the way before Ben comes on. He's got a black armband on. Anyway, it's lovely theatre, as I say. It's been beautifully redecorated, reconstructed in the exact form of Terry Wogan's bathroom. It's absolutely wonderful, and I'll be popping up every now and then just to irritate you and break up the acts and everything. You notice a bit of heckling there for Chris. Please don't do that. You can do the other acts, obviously, but not with me, because I'm not very good with hecklers. So I wanted to do a bit of stand-up. There was this heckler who kept on the whole time, kept interrupting. I couldn't cope with him, and eventually I stabbed him. So, so do bear that in mind. Why don't we get on with the show? I hear that wordlessly that's being thought by everybody in the audience. Oh dear, hang on, what's happened here? Sorry, I've lost my sort of all floppy. Reminds me of last night. No, I just... oh dear, I've come on and just ruined the technical thing. So it wasn't going to be two singers, but it's going to be one singer and a short singer now. Which I don't know what they are. Anyone here a fan of country music? Well, that's a coincidence because we now have, the group, I suppose, called the Death of Country Music. You may know them individually from their other performing careers, but a big storming round of applause. Could you sort of, stomp your feet, cheer like crazy for some good old Death of Country Music from Phil Pope and Rory McGrath?
Yeah! Hello, London! Hey, sure is good to be back here at the Haymarket Theatre. How y'all doing? You having a good time? Yeah, we'll soon change that. My name is Philadelphia J. Pope, and this is, what's your name? P. Rocky McGrath. We're from the Death of Country.
Thank you very much. Hey, you know what? Tonight we're going to have some crazy, sexy fun. But I think you lot will have gone by then. So. Now I kick off with a song, and this one is called The Bayou Song. Hope you like it. I've been a country singer for many a long, long year. I've whistled like a freight train and I've yodeled through my rear. I've drunk Jim Beam till daybreak and thrown up in a ditch, but that's one of the drawbacks of a night with Charlie Rich. I've watched the rocky sunsets from the top of Pine Tree Ridge. I even pushed this asshole off the Tallahatchie Bridge. But one thing that is bothering me, and it's got me in a tiz. I keep hearing about the bayou, but I don't know what it is. What's a bayou? What's a bayou? Do you eat it? Do you wear it? Do you beat it? I can't bear it. I'm on my bended knees. Won't someone tell me, please, what's a bayou?
I've sung a heap of country with a put-on southern drawl. I've even humped a waitress on the Wabash Cannonball. Into the Mississippi I've taken many a leak. I've negotiated entry into Tanya Tucker's Creek. Yeehaw. Roy Rogers lent me Trigger so I could have a feel, but Trigger went and left me for some woman called Lucille. I've rolled in jambalaya in a blanket on the ground, but a meaning for the bayou is one thing I've never found. What's a bayou? What's a bayou? Do you drink it? Do you smoke it? Do you think it? Do you poke it? I'm on my bended knees. Won't someone tell me, please, what's a bayou?
Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to witness one of the greatest events ever in the history of country music now.
That's right.
A pointless key change. Hey, Phil.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you. No. Thank you. That's kind. Thank you.
Thank you, but if there's any children out there who are listening tonight, don't you try that at home.
I fiddled on my dobro till it turned my brown eyes blue. I jeweled with a banjo and I named my young son Sue. I painted up my face and hair and walked right out the door. It was even me who started that old crazy Asian war.
I know that it begins with B and rhymes with me, oh my, you. If it's French, I do not know what it's the French word for. I've heard my lady say she loves to go down on the bayou, which makes me think it's another name for the guy who lives next door.
On the bayou, what's a bayou? Is it good for sexing badgers? Is it good for itchy nadgers? I'm on my bended knees, I'm begging someone please. It's making me unwell, someone do please tell what the friggin' hell is a bayou? Hey, thank you. Thank you. I'd like to just dim the lights a little now. We're going to get a bit romantic. I want to sing a song for all the ladies in the audience now. A little love song. I must say, it reminds me, I'm quite nervous tonight. This is the first time I've performed in public since I lost my wife. God, that was a hell of a poker game. Hell, God damn it.
Yeah, I won her.
Yeah, sorry about that. And I wake up and she's sleeping, and her little heart is beating, and she's breathing soft and gentle, and her breasts they gently rise and gently fall. And I think about the night before when we made love upon the floor. It's been 10 years since we were wed, but still it's paradise in bed, 'cause I love her. And I get up and I wander to the kitchen where I make her some coffee, and I wake her to tell her that I love her. And she looks at me and says, "Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? Who the fuckity 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 fuckity." No, Phil, hey, no. I'm sorry. We can't sing the rest of that song. Hell, no, it gets kind of crude at verse 27.
That's right.
So we'll spare you that. Thank you. You know, a lot of people will come up to me in the street and say, "Hey, Rory, how come you and Phil there write so many damn fine songs?" Well, I have to be honest with you and say we don't write these here songs. These songs are written by the only person who creates anything beautiful in this whole wide universe. That's the good Lord above. You better believe that.
That's right.
That sure is right. He writes these songs, he writes our songs, and he just uses me and Phil as tools for his trade. And I have to say, Phil Pope is one of the biggest tools I ever worked with. So this song is called the Bible Song. and it's for him.
Ooh, cherry on lights.
Yeah, Terry, how you doing? Okay. Too much light on him. Right, the Bible song. Hope you like it. In my old farmhouse kitchen, there's a bookcase made of wood. Maybe I don't have as many books as I should. But I just have the one book, Holy Bible is its name. No other book could ever make me feel the same. Well, that book, it gives me comfort and charity, faith and hope. 'Cause in that leather-bound Bible is where I keep my dope. In my house, the good book is a very good book indeed. I open up them holy pages and take a bit of weed. Some sinners say there is no God, I really don't know why. He always looks quite real to me when he joins me here on high. You've been drinking. Well, I sure am no blasphemer, I hope you understand. But resin and religion can go hand in hand. One night I heard the angels sing after some Lebanese red. Not the heavenly chorus, but a hit by Grateful Dead. In my house, the good book is a very good book indeed. I open up them holy pages and take a bit of weed. Jesus walked on water, didn't even make a splash. Hell, that's something I could do when I've smoked some hash.
One night my friends and I had been getting fairly high when a cop comes around and tries to bust us all. He said, hey, pray do tell, what's that sweet smoky smell? I said, I don't know, but it's taken from St. Paul. Well, that cop picked up my Bible and said my favorite bit. I'll read to you out loud, my friends, and began to open it. A little of John's Gospel. I know this verse off pat. Then Jesus said to Mary, what the fuck is that?
In my house, the good book is a very good book indeed. I open up them holy pages and take a bit of weed. Jesus wasn't really cool,
though for sinners he atoned. He helped Mary Magdalene,
but he stopped her getting stoned.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all, you've been real nice now. We'll see you later on. Bye for now.
All right, I'm going to talk into a table now. It's one of those. Actually, I've got a radio mic, I don't know what I'm worried about. Well, that was Rory McGrath, Phil Pope, Death of Country Music. Actually, I used to be a musician myself. I was part of a one-man band, but unfortunately, I split up. My elbow had musical differences in my knees. Anyway, just so you know about the audience here, we've had an analysis, and there are 6,000 people here in the audience. 5,000 of you come from Malta. 500 come from Aberdeen, 300 come from the West Country, and 250 come from Wales. My own personal analysis, but then I work for an opinion poll research company. Anyway, the only remotely topical thing I would say tonight is I'm very pleased that we've killed out the mystery about Robert Maxwell's death now. Apparently it's now definitely is suicide. They've definitely decided it was suicide. Apparently the reason why he was committing suicide, he was coming up to retirement age and he had no pension to look forward to. But let's crack on with the next act, who, for all I know, is sober enough to come on. One of the very popular shows on Channel 4. In fact, one of the few popular shows on Channel 4. It's been called Absolutely, and easily the biggest star on that show is somebody who's about to come on stage any moment, I'm hoping. And Could be either side. Could be either side. It could be I'm lying. It could be she's not here yet. But ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause in the off chance she turns up. Morwenna Banks.
Yes, I do know what happens when your mum has a baby. First of all, she goes into the hospital and the doctor says, "This way, madam," and he puts her in a box like what dead people go in. Then he does break her leg so the baby can be born out properly, and then he does give her a drink to make her sleepy, and it is, yeah, I think it is beer. And then he does get the binoculars and look up your mum's bottom, and the baby says, "I'm ready," and he pulls it out with the big tweezers. Then he does hold the baby upside down to make it sick, and he does measure it with a ruler, and when a baby is born out, it is only 1 inch big with a centimetre on it. And the doctor does say if the baby is big enough to go in the world, but if it is not, then he does fold it up and put it back up your mum for later. But if it was too big, then he would have to chop your mum's bottom off and do sewing on her tummy in case her meat fell out. But if it was big enough, then you can go to the hospital. And if you're allowed to hold the baby, then you must be very, very careful. For because a baby's head is not properly sewed onto the rest of it. And it might drop off and roll on the ground and a dog might eat it. And your mum will be really cross and her face will go blue. Then it is time for the baby's tea from your mum's bosom. And it has a special cake called, baby cake, yeah, and orange juice. But the baby is not allowed to see your mum's bosom, and that is why a baby's eyes do not open for 2 years. And when you are holding the baby, then you must be very careful not to pinch the baby, because your mum would not love you anymore. So you must never pinch the baby, or punch it, or spank it. And you must not bite the baby's nose, because the baby needs the nose for when it is grown up and does the smelling. So you must love the baby all of the time. You must, it's true.
Oh, right, got a microphone back on, that's good. Thank you. Well done, Morwenna Banks. I was rather evocative of that, because I've not long ago became a parent, and it's exciting, really, sort of, you know, disturbing. It's a screaming, yelling, yowling of your wife, you know, and that was just in the conception stage. But actually, I know it's come under a lot of criticism in the course of the election, but I think it's the National Health Service is something that we can really be proud of. I mean, who would have thought, like 50 years ago when it was set up, that it would be possible to do open heart surgery on the National Health Service with the patient just biting on a stick. I mean, and then they achieved a wonderful thing not long ago, actually, which was to transplant the heart of a baboon into a child. Obviously, it was a sick child who unfortunately did die, but and so did the baboon. But anyway, it's a wonderful advance, and it's going to have a lot of future effects. Transplant the heart of a baboon into a baby. It's a fantastic thing. It's very difficult to do, technically very difficult to do. The most difficult thing, of course, is you have to wait until a baboon is involved in a car crash. That is the most difficult thing. Anyway, let's crackle along to a bit more action. Now we're going to have a bit of culture, culture with a capital K. It's not often that it's possible to introduce arguably somebody who's going to be the next poet laureate. In fact, it's never happened to me so far, but it gives me deep pleasure to be able to introduce somebody who I've known on and off over many years, always vastly entertaining, one of the few poets who can command an audience at a comedy gig and can sell poetry in books, and will go down a storm tonight, or My Name Isn't Chris Tarrant. Ladies and gentlemen, John Hegley.
Thanks very much indeed, everyone who clapped. Poetry can be fun, but not tonight. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Good. Somebody over there enjoying themselves? That's good. Okay, the first poem is called Luton, and I was brought up in Luton, and it's also about the conflict between my working class origins and the middle class status conferred upon me by a university education. It's called Luton. I remember Luton as I'm swallowing my crouton. All right, the next one's a bit more serious. This is... Thanks a lot. It's not peaked too early, though, eh? Okay, we'll continue with the stuff about places. A couple of pieces about Scottish places now. The first one's about Edinburgh, and it's inspired by the tattoo. I'm afraid I won't be going to the Edinburgh tattoo, because to me a parade of weaponry and the capacity to hurt is about as pleasing as dog dirt on the shoe. Only poo is easier than the tattoo to get rid of. To you, it may be taboo to poo-poo the tattoo. But to me, the tattoo is something to say ta-ta to. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Now look, the more clapping, the less poetry. Oh, very clever. Very, very clever. You are having a good time up there, aren't you? This one's about Glasgow. As we walk across the bridge, across the Clyde, I talk of the tide and the spring in the suspension, but do not mention our attention. Is there any hope of a bridge over that divide, Stephen? A rope even, or must we remain strangers like the Pope and the Glasgow Rangers? Okay, a bit closer now for the setting of the next poem. This is called A Photo in St James's Park. A hot spring day by the lake, and a young woman and man, probably tourists, possibly Spanish, who wanted a photo of themselves together, handed their camera to someone, almost definitely English, who certain fellow countrymen might predictably describe as a very drunken old dosser. But. But to them, he was just a passer-by, he was just a person. He accepted the camera. Took a long time focusing and steadying himself, but he managed to take the picture and received genuine gratitude from the two who had seen nothing deviant in his attitude or his behaviour. They would remember him as a friendly and helpful English gentleman if he hadn't fallen into the lake with their camera. Right. A couple of poems about childhood here. The first one is called Greed, and this is about my sister. Once, when I wanted all my sister's sweets, I pretended to be a hungry dog. And each time she dropped one on the floor, I amused myself. I amused her. Needs a bit of work, that one. That's what, actually, the Martian influence there. The Martian influence in that poem. I don't know if you know the Martian school of poetry. It was started off by a chap called Craig Raine. And Craig's initial Martian image, or the most popular one, is of the book as a many-winged bird which perches on a hand and is valued for its markings. It's a lovely image. You can imagine the book. And perching on the hand. And if you're at the beginning of the book, you've obviously got more wings on one side than the other. And by a similar token, a pair of glasses might be seen as a book, or a bird, in fact, with no wings, no body, and no head, and a pair of glasses. This is a Martian poem. There was a young creature from space who entered the three-legged race. He was not very fast. In fact, he came last because he was a bag of oven-ready chips. Good. Okay, this is a couple of cautionary pieces now. This is called Unfortunates. Jack-in-the-boxes without springs, jackdaws without wings, lumberjacks with broken backs and both their arms in slings. These are a few of my favourite images. And this is about bonfire night. He held the burning Roman candle, an outdoor firework without a handle. It made him cough, some bits flew off, and turned his shoe into a sandal. Thank you. All right, I will do this one here. This is... Never rile a poet. Sorted him out. Okay. All right, it's not an excuse to talk. Okay. A couple more, I think. This one's called Christmas Poetry. One Christmas, my father gave me and my sister a sheet of brown paper each for our main present and said that this year we could enjoy the greatest gift of all, the imagination. Children, he said cheerily, these are your magic carpets. But Dad, I complained, I wanted a sheet of brown paper. And I wanted a wrapped-up present, complained my sister. But this present is its own wrapping, said our father, confusing us rather. But she wanted a jigsaw, Dad, I added. Well, tear it into little pieces then, added Dad in his turn. Use those imaginations or I'm going to get annoyed. And when he had gone, we each imagined the other person's brown paper to be bigger and browner than our own. Okay. Thank you. This is the last one, and it's more appropriate, I think, to have something about Easter, and this is an Easter poem. This is called A Weekend Diary, and it's an imaginary diary kept by the Lord over that eventful Easter weekend. There'll obviously be times when it would be difficult to keep a diary, as you can probably imagine, if you were the Lord, but I'm sure he could have managed it. All right. Now, I like to think that the Lord could laugh at this sort of stuff himself, if he hadn't heard it so many times already. A Weekend Diary. Friday. Hot. Stretched out on hilltop all afternoon. Wondering, am I in wrong job? Saturday. Stayed in. Sunday. Woke up feeling brilliant. Visited friends. Surprised to see me. Thank you very much. Good night. Thank you.
John. Well done, John Hegley. And it's inspiring. I've never really written a... Cheers. No, it helps, actually, to have people wandering around. Just fine. That was disturbing, wasn't that wire being too... I was inspired when I see John write poetry, and I finally got around to writing a poem myself, so I thought I'd do it now, because it sort of naturally flows on. It isn't really my creation, because I'm not really up to it, but I thought that there are a lot of sort of familiar lines in poetry that we can't be bothered with the whole poem. So I thought if we just string them all together, we could make one big poem that we all knew. It would save me having to write one of my own. So I don't know if we get a chance to perform this, but it's coming after John. I thought I'd do this. And there's a prize of £10 million if you can spot where all these poems come from. Come and see me afterwards. You get it all right, and you can go where all these poems come from. £10 million, as long as you're the Pope as well, obviously, and a few limitations. Anyway, this is called In the Brave Days of Old, which is also a clue as to when it ends. So, In the Brave Days of Old. I wandered lonely as a cloud to the lonely sea and the sky. The noblest Roman of them all will know the reason why. There's a breathless hush in the close tonight. Captain, art thou sleeping there below? The time has come, the walrus said, I must arise and go. Now, April is the cruelest month, when icicles hang by the wall. A man's a man for all that, old Uncle Com Tobley and all. Uncle Tom Cobley and all, in fact. The old Com Tobley was a different sort of uncle, I'm afraid. Old Com Tobley is always coming here. Too soon very often. Now, the king was in his counting house, drinking the blued red wine. The ploughman homeward plods his weary way. O world, O life, O time. That's only in there, so you don't get the £10 million. For east is east, and west is west, nor all that glisters gold. Should old acquaintance be forgot in the brave days of old. I think that's a fairly reasonable poem, isn't that? Out of all that. Now the two microphones on stage give you a clue that we're going to have two people on in a second, and they go under the, I think rather suitably and very explaining title. You've probably seen them around if you get out to comedy clubs and stuff. They've been popular last few years. They're called Two Girls What Sing. I'm going to call them by their real names, Helen Austin, and no, I'm not. I'm going to call them by their stage name, Two Girls What Sing. So.
Hi, yes, we are Two Girls What Sing. I'm Helen.
Yes,
Shelley.
You can remember my name. I'm Shelley.
Shelley Hambury.
That's right.
And we've been reading the Bible recently, and it wasn't really quite our scene. So we decided to write our own version of Jesus' life, along with a few dodgy disco tracks. Ooh, ooh, you can worship the devil, spin your head around, pray to a Buddha, meet Moses on the mount, but don't forget, oh no, don't forget, oh no, the star was crucified, he may still be alive, but he still pulls a crowd, and we've still got a shroud, and there's still no replies to tell us why. Well, you can tell by the way I eat my pork, I'm not a Jew, and I love to chew. Every time I'm crucified, I rise again, although I died, but it's alright, it's okay. I will live for 3 more days, and I'll try to understand that my daddy's in command. God is my affliction, this is my crucifixion, I'm staying alive, staying alive. Son of God's the title, and I got my disciples, I'm staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive, staying alive. If I can't beat you, I don't want a circumcision. If I can't beat you, oh. If I can't beat you, my foreskin's my decision. If I can't beat you, oh. His name was Judas. He was a a traitor. He went and told on the Messiah Peter he was the denier, but Jesus found out while having supper. But it was too late, he'd blabbed on his best mate. It was either suicide or have to immigrate. In the Garden of Gethsemane, Judas, he should not be late for his very special day. In the Garden of Gethsemane, there'll be fibbing and lying, and Christ will be dying in the garden. He told the lot, who is the new Son of God? Ikey, Ikey, no way. Who runs a new Jesus squad? Ikey, Ikey, no way. Oh, who's got a turquoise suit and tie? Ikey, Ikey, I say, oh, who should we all crucify? Ikey, Ikey, do dare talk about pray now, pray now, pray now, pray now. Ikey, what a load of toss. Oh, you were just a fib and get you toast on Jonathan Ross. Ups, Messiah's dead, say ups, Messiah's dead. Oh yeah, ups, Messiah's dead, say ups, Messiah's dead. Dum 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 dum. Don't blame it on a Hindu, don't blame it on a Muslim, don't blame it on a Mormon, blame it on the Bible. Don't blame it on a shepherd, don't blame it on a wise man, don't blame it on a stable, blame it on the Bible. I just can't control my sheep. I can't stand the pain in my fingers, and the nails are starting to rust. I can't stand the stain on my loincloth, and the blood is starting to crust. My legs are falling off, my hands are full of sores, my face is peeling, babe, and leprosy's the cause. But Jesus told me, he told me I would walk again. Ba-boo, 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 ba-boo. It feels like I've been cured. Year 2000 approaching, when will he return? We thought it was David, but he was just disturbed. But I'm an atheist, and I drink to get pissed, and it will be divine to turn my water into wine. So if you come back, let's have a pint. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Just one small question. This was the audition for Songs of Praise.
That's right. It's always best to check after the song.
Right. But now, we'd like to sing about something very, very serious. Very serious. It's about suffering in the world.
There's a lot of women in the audience.
About women suffering in the world, yes. Maybe a few of you here tonight are suffering, as Shelley is suffering, which is a bit of a shame, and we are trying to bear with it this evening.
Palin, that's very
Thank
personal.
you.
You're not going to tell people.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think we've got that air of suffering, and I think that's good, the atmosphere.
Looking out on the morning rain. Ow, I used to feel so uninspired. Do, 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 ow. And when I knew I'd have to face another day. Ow, boy, it made me feel so tired. Do, 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 do. Before the day I met you, my body wasn't sore, and now my bits down there, they feel a bit raw. 'Cause you make me feel, bubbly, you make me feel, bubbly, you make me feel like a natural woman. Ba-do-ba, ba-do-ba-da, looking down on a growing pain. Ow, I felt a touch of irritation. Ow, 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 ow. Is it really that again? Ooh, ow. Or is it my imagination? Do, 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 do. I thought I loved my boyfriend, but it was just a crush. And now I've gone and left him 'cause he's left me with thrush. Tweet. And you make me feel, Baba, you make me feel. Baba, you make me feel like a natural yogurt. Ba-do-ba-ba-do-ba-da. Oh, baby, what you done to me, what you done to me. You make me feel so hot inside. And I just wanna be close to you. You know you make me feel so alive. And you make me feel. Baba, you make me feel. Baba, you make me feel like a natural yogurt. And you make me feel. You make me feel. You make me feel like a natural yogurt. You make me feel like a natural yogurt.
Well, sadly, we've come to our last song. And, oh, that's nice. And this last song is a bit of an epic, so I'd like to imagine a 1,000-watt PA system. A full orchestra. Sounds like my cat chewing. And a 100-voice choir. Crap, where are your voices? And the band that originally did this wouldn't perform it live, but tonight you've got our version of this epic song for 2 voices. Thank you.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught watching Brookside, no escape from reality. Open your eyes and then exorcise your brain. I'm just a poor sod. I have no life in me because it's TV on, TV go. Little brain, shitty show. Anytime is soap time. Doesn't really matter to me. You don't like science fiction. Soaps are my addiction. Mama, I'm such a bore, and it causes me alarm. I'm watching Emmerdale Farm, and Mama, my life's lacking fun. Get more men and nice and every day really turn me on. Mama, why do crossroads have to die? And some say that it shouldn't have been at all. Carry on, carry on. It could have been much better. Do 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 do. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. These are all Brookside days. Too late. The time has come. It's chorus to read at 7:30. To cell block H at 11:30. Omnibus. Goodbye, everybody. I've got to go. God labels is on every face, and that's alright by me. Mama, oh, don't like documentaries. I'm going out today. So could you please tape home and away. Carry on, carry on. I'm getting so much fatter. Soap, 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 soap. Jason was a poor boy, nobody loved. Donovan, Donovan, did you ever shag Kylie? Have to take a turn after Michael Hudson's so tough shit. Sue and Terry, Sue and Terry, Sue and Terry, Sue and Danny had to go, they had to go. Oh, Ken Baller's boring, nobody loves me. He's just a kid, that's why he's left teetering, spending his life so lonely and dull. Do. TV on TV, go, will you let me go? EastEnders, no, we will not let you go, let me go. EastEnders, we will not let you go, let me go. EastEnders, we will not let you go, let me go, will not let you go, let me go, will not let you go, let me go. Oh no, Gail, where is your chin? Ivy Tilsey, Ivy Tilsey, Ivy Tilsey, Ivy Tilsey, Ivy Tilsey has to go. The BBC has a crappy little part for me, for me, for me. So you think you can stop me from watching TV? Na 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 na. So you think Barry Grant is an idol for me? Oh, Barry, why'd you kill Sue and Danny? Just gotta stay in, just gotta stay in and find out. Do 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 do. Except my Sky TV, nothing really matters. What a shame about BSB. I'd rather watch the Waltons. Thank you, that's all from us. Two big cheers, let's say. You've been a wonderful audience, thank you.
Excellent, well on. Excellent. Excellent. Excellent, well, I don't know. Come on, look. Go. All right, from the right. Yeah. Excellent. Well done. I don't know. I could do that if I just had the talent. It's the only thing that's holding me back. Well, we're racing on towards the end of the first half, and to get us there, we're going to have somebody who's been a star of this kind of show since ever I can remember, which is not very far back, fortunately. But a big, storming welcome, please, for Ken Campbell.
Seekers tonight, a true little tale. It was 13 years ago that I put on the longest play the world had known. It was The Warp. It was the cycle of the life of hippies. It lasted 22 hours. And when it was at the Roundhouse in Camden Town, we had the services of a small part player called David Danil. And David Danil was the most minimal person I've ever encountered. I can recall how he would smoke a cigarette. There would only be sufficient energy in his fingers there. Any less energy, and the fag would have dropped on the floor. And also his lips, minimal energy there. And also his walk was of minimal alarm to insect life. And I was having an early night. We just used to put it on at the weekends, 22 hours, used to start 9 o'clock in the evening, go on till 7 o'clock the following evening. And I'd gone to bed early, and I just started to dream, and then some geezer barged into my dream. And he said, you know that character David Danil who's in your show? I said, yes. He said, tell him what he's got to do with his life. He's got to go and see every live show that Ken Dodd gives for a year. Will you tell him? I said, right, yeah, for sure. Anyway, then the geezer went away and the dream continued. I went flying. I seem to remember I wound up in the South Pacific and my late mother was roped to a windowsill and I was just cutting her free and this geezer turned up again. He said, you won't forget to tell David, will you? I said, no, I was just rescuing my mum. Anyway, so when I went into the theatre next day, there was David. He was applying his minimal makeup, you see. We couldn't have him playing too long a part because we couldn't really have him play a part at all because he was utterly inaudible, you know. There's no chance of you speaking up, I suppose, is there, David? He's like, what, really? What, you can't hear anything? No, we can't hear a thing. But we'd found a use for him because he had the legendary minus quality. That is, if he left the room, the stage looked somehow fuller. You know, turning up the pink lights. Anyway, he was applying his minimal makeup. He wasn't on for 4 hours, but you know, that would be his first exit. You know, that was the main use we had for him. I said, David, I don't know what you make of these things, but I had a dream about you last night. I was instructed as to what you've got to do. And he said, thank you. I said, no, don't you want to hear what it is? No, he just sort of was making up like that. But about 9 hours later, he asked me what it was. I said, what you've got to do, David, is you've got to go and see every live show that Ken Dodd gives for a year. Thank you, he said. And then later he said, would it be all right if he didn't start until January the 1st? I said, yeah, I'm sure that's fine. Now, David hadn't got a lot of money. And so what he did was he borrowed an Arctic sleeping bag and he headed off on January the 1st to Southport, where Ken Dodd was in Panto there. And he slept under Southport Pier and then he made some minimal friends, I believe. He made some deal with the box office manager, gave them what money he could afford, and he was allowed to see every live show there. Now that's twice nightly, 3 times on a Wednesday, 3 times on a Saturday. He saw the Panto through, then he had 2 weeks off, and then Ken Dodd was doing a tour of Britain, and he followed that around. And then on the last night of the tour, Ken Dodd was holding a little party on the stage. David had the courage to attend it, and he introduced himself to Ken Dodd and informed him that he was seeing every live show that the man gave for a year due to a dream that a friend of his had had. And Doddy said, Willie said, I think you're going to have trouble with my next engagement. He said, because I'm doing cabaret in the New Hebrides. Well, David couldn't see what the problem would be, really. He'd have to make some deal with the Scottish ferry or whatnot. He'd got the date. But then, when he's looking at the map of Britain, he couldn't find the New Hebrides. There's only Hebrides up there. Eventually he found the New Hebrides. You turn left at Fiji. It's in the Sea of Solomon. And Ifati, Ken Dodd had said, Ifati. And he thought that would be a Scouse expression, meaning I wish I could be talking to someone else now. But Ifati, it turned out, was the capital island of the New Hebrides. So then David ran. By that I mean he did anything for money. And he got the money up and he got out by way of Australia. And he got there. And then we got the postcard from him. He said he'd explored the whole of Ifati. He'd met some terrific Australians. He'd been to the hotel there and the yacht club. He'd interviewed some gentlemen with feathers in their noses. But no one had heard of Ken Dodd. But then he became a wee bit famous as the man looking for Ken Dodd. And he knew Doddy's acts by now, and it went down quite well. Now, the native languages out there were the native languages. There are about 2,000 of them. But the lingua franca, the language that they all speak so they can get on with each other, is Pidgin English. It's about 1,000 words of English cunningly put together. And by way of it, you can get to almost any concept. Only takes about a week to pick it up. And David was now amusing himself translating Doddy's routines into Pidgin. And this was some amusement of the natives there. And then a bunch of natives were to be setting off to visit their more primitive cousins on the Solomon Islands. And they asked David if he'd like to go with them. Yeah, he did. And when they arrived at the island, well, the guys came out of their huts. They in fact, been wearing shorts and T-shirts. They were quickly informed, no, this was to be a special occasion. You've got to really tog up for this. And so they went back in, put all their slap on and their feathers in and their danglers. Then they're introduced to David Daniel, and he launched into his first gag in pidgin, and the big man chief of the island called for a halt, asked him to repeat it, called for a halt 5 times. And on the 5th time of telling, the whole island held its sides and rocked away the night in laughter. And the next day, they canoed him off to the next island, and the same thing there. And he toured 19 islands on one gag, and this was it. Im full of good day. Im full of good day belong you me two fella, push 'em, lil fella saltwater one eye, inside post office latter hole belong prayer fella pasta. Tell 'em sky island twinky twink, plenty fella ear. Now you'll note that David's taken a liberty with Dodd's text here, the lil fella saltwater one eye. That's because there aren't really cucumbers on the Solomon Islands. For sure, you could circumlocute your way to a cucumber. Could take all afternoon, though. For example, a piano is a big fella bockis, like a box, a big fella bockis. You kill him, he cry out. Kill him, Millie, being the word for hit. If you want to say kill him, you say kill him altogether, dad, finis, yeah? And love is like a violin, Doddy entering to love is like a violin, it would come out as lavum like 'em, lil fella bockis. Suppose you scrasm belly, he cry out. Anyway, so David here had gone for the little fella saltwater one-eye concept. The little fella saltwater one-eye, not such a little fella, the little fella saltwater one-eye. Evidently, this is the Solomon Islands sea slug. And what you do with these things, you fetch them out of the sea, sling them onto the beach, and then they dry out and you grind it up as a sort of fishy pepper that you put on your yams. Right? And so, are we okay there? No? All right. Im full of good day. Im full of good day, what a beautiful day. Im full of good day, blong, blong means anything, belong if you like, blong that. Im full of good day, blong, you me too fella, we, you me too fella, push 'em, lil fella saltwater one eye, inside, post office letter hole, belong prayer fella pasta. Prayer fella pasta, the vicar. Prayer fella pasta, like Reverend Macaroni. So like, prayer fella pasta. Tell him, Sky Island, Sky Island twinky twink, plenty fella ear. The Martians have arrived. David didn't stop there. I'd just like to... he goes down in history there as the chap who introduced the limerick form to the Solomon Islands. This, I think, is one of his best. Run 'em fella flying fockis, bowl different harbig, no mockis. One bowl small, no bowl. Narrow fella, big fella. Win him prize bockis. The prize bockis is like the prize box. It's the same prize year after year there, I think, but they put a lot of attention into the box, or bockis. So the run-'em fella, that's your guy with the spear, run-'em fella, and he's chasing after the flying fockis, flying fox hunter, run-'em fella flying fockis, bowl, well, they don't bother with S's there for the plurals, so bowl in our case, bowls, bowls, different harbig sizes, bowl different harbig, no mockis, don't laugh, it's a bit like Frankie Hutt, no mockis. Yeah, run-'em fella flying fockis, bowl different harbig, no mockis. One bowl small, no mo, almost no bowl. Narrow fella, big fella, winning prize bockis. Just give us that other thing there. If you're going, if you're out that way He's back there. This is his calling now. Just to watch out for this guy. You know, like Doddy calls himself the Squire of Knotty Ash? Well, this is the guy. He ain't minimal anymore. he's got the feathers. The big man chief. That's just a big man chief.
We put them into two positions, and then they have to improvise from the position they've been put in, and the others can sort of cut in, and just say freeze, and join in. Does that make sense? Anyway, so can we go a position to put Steve Frost in, just a physical position? On all fours, okay, on all fours, there was somebody. And Sandi, how would you like to see Sandi?
Some naughty people.
Underneath, well, I don't.
Underneath?
Underneath, can you get underneath it? Am I
I should have thought to give him a little time.
Nothing getting in your way there, is there?
No. This looks like more fun, actually. Yeah.
Well, I'm enjoying this, and I'm sitting in the chair next to it, which is kind of guy. Yes, kind of guy I'm at parties. I'll go and get the drinks and the bread and cheese. Oh, sorry, I was looking for my coat. Okay, well, you take it away, and they'll cut in. And I'll say stop when we want to go to another game. That's what I do. It's dead easy.
I don't think much of this Euro Disney ride, I must say.
No. You let me.
Wait,
No, you stay there. What is it, lassie? Down by the coal mine?
No, over by the coal shed, you fool.
Freeze! You taking the piss?
Yeah, but I'll finish now.
All right.
I have to kneel down because he's so big. Anyway, listen, should we go back inside or should we talk for a while out here?
Oh, let's talk for a while out here.
Okay. Listen, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Freeze! I've never seen anybody sew a button on before. This is the weirdest tailor I've ever been to. Is this what they mean by bespoke?
I'm afraid...
What an unusual place to be joined as Siamese twins.
And I really don't like the fact that you do all the drinking and I have to do all the pissing. Freeze!
You got cords on, you can't come in, I told you once.
Yeah, but you've got jeans on.
That's right, you can come in with jeans, but not fucking cords. You're a school teacher or something? You're a school teacher, I bet you teach geography, and you stink.
Look, I'm sorry, I just wanted to come into the Sheffield Rally, that's all.
The Sheffield Rally?
Yes.
Oh, and it's too late, it's all over, mate, we lost. So, I'm going to have to warn you.
Oh,
freeze!
No. It's going to hit me.
Freeze!
Now, Pinocchio, I've made some adjustments.
Freeze! Oh, I was going to try that shirt on. Get out of it.
Oh, sorry, don't me.
Sorry.
That's it. No, sir, if I could just suggest to you that we could get you another shirt, perhaps, from the stock room.
I want the shirt off your back.
Oh, well, that'd be interesting for everybody, wouldn't it?
And I want some new trousers as well.
You can't get in anywhere with them fucking trousers. No.
Freeze!
Chris Patton. Or is it someone else? I'm not sure.
You as a hunchback, but that'll do.
Okay. Mr. Back, or can I call you Hunch?
Just call me Hunchy.
Hunchy. Thanks. Well, this is a great place you got here.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you come to the audition. We have 3 bells here, different tones. Now, I'm retiring in a couple of weeks, so I just want to make sure the person that's coming in is going to do me right. Don't fake it. Don't fake it, baby.
No?
If you've got the hump, don't do
Just
it.
feel it. Okay.
Just feel it, because they can't see you up in the tower. Very good. Okay. Try that one there. Very good.
Bong.
No. Technique.
Freeze! My, you are a big boy.
Well, yes, I am.
Well, that's wonderful how you can just sling it casually over your shoulder like that.
Freeze! Where do you want this red carpet, love?
Well,
Sorry, Your Majesty, I'm sorry.
No, it's just in case the visiting royalty want to go to the toilet. I
Freeze.
wanted to...
Oh, back one seat. Where's that seagull gone with my library books? Oh, there you are. He dropped them now.
I've dropped them now. Sorry.
Luckily, they're very light.
Yes. There's a...
Freeze! Vicar, what are you doing with that choir boy?
Okay, let's end there. Thank you very much. Thank you, excellent. It's like a code word there. If vicar and choir boys are mentioned, we know we're plumbing the depths. Let's do another game. Let's do Stephen and Neil, if you'd like to step forward, and we'll do something called film and theatre styles. You've seen the programme, you know how it is. I'll get you to improvise a little scene. Could you be... well, you're going to watch it, right? Say a Labour Party candidate talking to his agent on Friday morning. And we'll crack in with a few different...
You mean Glenda Jackson talking to her agent?
One out of 600, I think you got there, but maybe an unsuccessful, I don't know. Just see how he takes it. You can move it around, and we'll get them to do it into different theatre styles or film styles, if somebody can get ready to think of them and shout out when we get to a break. Blues Brother, we'll go to that in a minute, but start off just with no style at all.
I'm sorry, John, you're lost.
No, this is where I live. This is my house.
Oh, sorry, you've been using it as a committee room.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So how are we doing? I
Well,
fell asleep. I fell asleep.
You fell asleep on election night?
Yeah, well, it was very boring. I don't know about you. But, you know, Basildon went. I thought, nah, don't ignore that. And when we got Dulwich, I thought, yeah, we're in, laughing.
Nobody's laughing now.
Okay.
Well, not your accent, anyway.
Whatever I say. What's the style? Horror. Okay, do horror.
Yes.
You mean...
Yes, and Giles Brandreth got in at check.
Woolly jumpers in the House of Commons!
It's true. Not since the days of Michael Foot have we had that kind of thing.
You know what this means?
Yes.
Good, well, tell them.
I've written it on a postcard. You read it out.
I haven't got my glasses. Oh, is that the telephone?
Yes.
Okay, let's have another style before we... Spaghetti Western. Okay, spaghetti Western.
Yeah, you'll laugh.
I don't understand why I lost. Because when I was in this constituency before...
Yeah. It's good. It's good you were standing here in Wales. Yeah.
Ping, 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 ping.
All I want to know is why? Why did I lose the election?
Because when you vote, you are the man with no policies.
That's the name I wrote under. Those wanted posters as well. I don't think they work for me. You know?
Yeah, and your taxation plans. What a good idea.
Yeah.
A fistful of dollars.
Yeah.
That's a natural break there, I think. Another style? Australian movie. And they do soap operas. Do Australian soap operas.
That's why I have to tell you that I'm your half-brother.
I understand, bouncer.
And I'm the best actor in this show as well.
That's right. But we've got to do something about Erinsborough. Now we have no Labour candidate here. What are we going to do?
I don't know. It all happened long ago in Vietnam.
No, it all happened long ago in Birmingham.
Birmingham?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, one more to end on. We're excited. Sorry? Love story. All right, so...
You may have lost the election. You may have leukemia. I may be a dog, but I love you. Dance.
Dogs don't love like that.
Woof.
Do you know you dance divinely?
No, because I don't.
But tell me, if we're to spend the rest of our lives together under Conservative government, then surely I will top myself.
Sure. Jeremy. Don't you see that life can be true again? Oh, thanks. Is that a better light?
We could go away someplace.
Go
Maybe
away
away from this
someplace,
country.
away from this
Somewhere,
constituency.
that's right. Somewhere where the Neil Kinnock lives and rules all the time. Maybe that's the only way for happiness. No, maybe not. I've been to one of his parties. They're crap.
I don't know. I think I'm dying. I only have 5 seconds to live. But still, that's long enough for a swing. Fancy one?
Too late.
All right, then, well done. Well done. Excellent. Excellent. Well, I don't know. What hope you have with that love story one? You remember love stories. Is that your favourite film, was it?
Still is?
I don't know, I'm talking to you, because I don't think you shouted it out, but it's your face
so
attracted me
obvious when you
strangely.
try and pull Clive, it's very worrying. She's a nice-looking woman, but I mean, really.
Don't interrupt, I'm doing very well. So Mike and Sandi, come on down. And we want to do emotion option, would be slightly different. So the thing I'm going to give you to do, I'll give you a choice. Do you want to be a couple on their first date? Or was that too corny?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, a couple on your first date. Meeting on your first date,
Okay.
and we can think of some emotions, some different styles of doing it. Not film and theatre styles, but excitedly, erotically, or whatever those. But first of all, no particular style. Meeting on your first date.
Hi. Come in.
I'm, oh God, I forgot.
Sally.
I get so nervous.
Sally.
Sally, I'm Sally. I forget my name.
Jessie.
I get kind of nervous. Jessie,
Jessie,
hi.
Jessie. Hello.
You wanna, hi.
Come in, please, come
Thank
in,
you.
come in.
Oh, what a
Yes.
lovely entrance hall you have
Let me
here.
get the particulars out of the way.
Oh,
This is my stereo.
Oh, that's nice. It's
Can I
nice.
get you a drink?
Yeah, I don't normally drink, but I'll have a large scotch.
No, it's great.
So, have you been living here very, is this your own?
Well, no,
I have a list of questions and I forget the whole,
We're making each other really nervous. Let's
yeah.
just take a deep breath.
Okay.
I think we should put scotch behind it.
Okay.
Okay, let's have an emotion. Angrily, I'll come back to jealousy, but angrily is a good one.
Call this a large scotch? Jesus Christ, you come in, you try and be nice, I dressed up, I changed my underwear. What the hell is this?
Where I come from, that is considered a nice-sized festive drink. I didn't know that Miss Guzzlecheeks was going to be my date for the night. Why don't you just get a siphon and park your ass by the wet bar for the rest of the evening?
Oh, name calling, is it now? Mr. Trim as a fucking gazelle?
Go ahead, I'm a big target. You can hit me fine. Fine.
I can hit you blindfolded.
Mix me one while you're at it and see if you can do it right.
Okay, let's think of another style. What? Jealousy. Oh, jealousy. You're insisting on jealousy, so carry on with jealousy.
Oh, God, you have your own cocktail bar.
Yeah.
I've always wanted a cocktail bar. I don't even have my own house to put a cocktail bar in.
It's okay. I mean, you've come in and you've done pretty well so far. I mean, you made a real impression on me, and you were masterful. With those.
Thank you.
See, I don't have that. I don't
No,
have
no,
that.
but
I did.
But you have trousers I could live in, which is nice. Those are nice.
And you have hair that I don't have.
Oh, no, and not just on my head, sadly.
I guess you're just a pretty lucky person. And that dating service just said that I'm such a bag of wheeze that I need somebody to beef me up a little. Oh,
yeah,
no.
but I bet when you phone up the dating service, they don't go, it's her again, that sad old woman.
All right, let's do another style. Paranoid. Paranoid's.
Do your ice cubes normally look at you when you're drinking?
Let me just go ahead and close the curtain.
Oh, okay, no, it says that this particular one seems to have an eyeball in it. Hey!
What?
Hey,
What?
hey.
No.
Close enough, okay? First date, I know what you want to do. Here's the stereo. Right behind it is the bedroom.
No. How'd you know the bedroom's behind the stereo?
I knew that. You can see into my mind.
If you were...
Oh, don't point. Don't point.
Sorry. You... Look out!
Oh, my God, the stereo's trying to get me.
Oh, let's do one, a jolly one to finish on. Lustily, okay, lustily.
Let me just turn it up a bit.
Oh. I must say, I like it when it goes up a bit. The man said lust, not vomit.
I don't know if you,
Just put my drink down on this occasional table.
Don't ruin the smooth, shiny finish on the top. It took me weeks. 8 months of Chinese lacquer to get that kind of thing.
Get on with the game.
This is the game. So, I know it's a first date and everything, but,
You know we're going to go out, right?
Oh, I thought we were going to stay in.
Well, we could stay in. And we're going to make small talk and ask each other about, you know, other people we've known and perhaps just get a little closer.
Oh, my God, you've got bigger breasts than me.
Yes. Okay, well done. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mullarkey, Steve Ross, McShane, Sandi, Toksvig. Yeah! Ah! Well done, well done, well done, well done.
Right, well. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry to interrupt. My name's Angus Deayton. It's not my full name, of course, which is Big Angus Deayton, on account of my Rambo-like features and the chilling air of quiet violence that hangs about my body, even in repose, and especially when naked. Anyway, I was just passing the theatre, so I thought I'd pop in and draw your attention to the results of a government survey, which was published only the other day, which reveals that at least 9 out of every 10 people in the country have at some stage in their lives, apparently, masturbated. Now, I don't mean to shock or offend you with this at all, simply to let you know that this means there is consequently more than a 90% chance that the person you're sitting next to tonight is a wanker. In fact, if that person is male, there is evidently a 64% chance that he did so before he came out this evening. If that person's female, evidently 22% chance that, given the opportunity, she would have liked to watch. Statistics, you see, they can prove anything. Anyway, it's now my virtual pleasure to ask you to show your hysteria in the normal way for a great favourite of yours, and I hope mine, Alistair McGowan.
Thank you. Good evening. What shocked me about the election was the collapse of the Green vote, which I have to attribute to David Icke, really. You remember that business? David Icke, was he the Messiah? Was he the Son of God? I kept expecting his mother to pop up on TV saying,
"He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy."
But of course he didn't. So Major is back in power, and I don't know if you noticed this, but John Major cannot say the word want. Have you noticed that? He doesn't say it. He says want. Have you noticed that?
I want to point out, I want to point out.
It's just a good job he can pronounce the word can't, really, isn't it, I suppose? But I was thinking about John and Norma, you know, and imagine their sex life. Imagine, there is a joke. Imagine John saying to Norma,
"Norma, there is no soft option."
Because it must affect these famous people, mustn't it? What they do during the day, what they do at night. I mean, imagine Henry Kelly's sex life. Yeah, OK, Henry Kelly probably has to imagine Henry Kelly's sex life, doesn't he? But, I can just picture Henry Kelly dressing up in lots of different costumes and saying to his partner, "What am I?" "The category is sex. Select." You know, either that or I suppose he runs round around the bedroom saying, I'm in control of the game and you're playing catch-up. Maybe. But, Trevor Brooking, how was it for you? Well, you know, at the end of the day, it's all a question of being in the right place at the right time, really, and... But I think the best must be Bob Holness. Imagine Bob Holness standing across the bedroom saying to his wife, what BJ would I like you to give me now? I'll have a tissue, please, Bob. Yes. Perhaps. Jonathan Ross. I don't know how Jonathan Ross ever even got to first base with a woman, though, because it takes him so long to ask any one question, doesn't it? So, do you come here often then, or is this like a rare visit for you, or do you frequent this place? I mean, how often would you say actually come to this particular establishment? What is it on an average? What, once a week, twice a year, 3 times a month? What would you actually say is the regularity of your presence in this particular establishment and place of entertainment? What would you say? You'd say sod off, right? Fair enough, yeah. I don't know. I went through a long period myself of being single, actually, which was good because being single, for a start, if you're ill, you can just be yourself. You know, you can just be ill. Because if you're in a couple and you get ill, you have to suddenly become 7 years old. Yeah. I've got a poorly tummy. Will you kissy butter my poorly tummy? You know who you are. Keep away from me. How do people from Leeds pronounce the name of the band, The? See you, Mum. I'm off outfit night. Down club to see... Can't be easy, can it? They just didn't think when they named that band. They did not think about the people in Leeds. Some bands gave it a bit of thought, you know, like Pal. That's fine, I can cope with that. But I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Northerners, be careful, they're proud people, and you know what? And you're right, because they are. They come up to me after a gig and they'll say, hey, come here. I come from the north, right, me? And I'm bloody proud of it, me. All right. And they've got this neck like this, haven't they? It's like, oh. Northern neck. That's why Leeds United are top of Division 1, you know. Lee Chapman, 1-0. That's... Yeah, it happens. But they're proud people. They don't like taking the piss out of them. Southerners, it's the same. All these London lads, have a go at them. They'll come up to you and they'll say, aye. I'm from the south and I'm well proud of it. All right, my son, so leave it out and knock it on the head. Do what? Stop giving it all. And they've all got these arms out here like this, haven't they? Going out for the night, got my hair gel, got my t-shirt, got my white socks. Oh, forgot my arms, there we go. Very proud. Midlanders don't mind, you can have a go at Midlanders. I'll just come up to you and I'll say, yeah, I come from the Midlands, mate, and you're right, it's shit really, isn't it? Shit, which is why I left there. But... two of my favourite programmes have come off the TV recently, which was a bit of a blow. The Word is no longer on TV. You know, any fans of The Word in? Yes. 2, good. Right, well, this bit of material is just for you then. But I always feel I have to watch The Word. You know, for me, watching The Word is like having a season ticket for Newcastle United. I think I've got to keep watching this because one week, it's going to be good. You know? And why do they call it The Word? I think we know what word they've got in mind, really, don't we? Tonight at 11:05 on Channel 4, shite. With Terry Christian, Amanda de Cadenet, or Amanda de Cadenet's brother, or somebody who once walked past her in the street one Friday afternoon, and some stupid American woman only employed to make Amanda de Cadenet look moderately intelligent. That's the truth of it. And what's he like, Terry Christian? He's like a little 10-year-old boy, isn't he? I am waiting for the day when Terry Christian, on The Word, says to one of his guests, got some fans in tonight, that makes a change. I'll tell you what though, right, Do you collect turtle cards, right? Because I've got some swapsies in my pocket. What do you reckon? Oh, dear, thank you. The other one, Dad's Army, that's come off as well. John Le Mesurier, I loved him. Brilliant actor, John Le Mesurier. Would have been a terrible barman, though, because it wouldn't have been the usual, would it? Come on now. Let's have those glasses now, please. Come on, finish your beers. Would have been more like, I see, would you mind awfully just finishing those few drinks? It's really awfully late, you see, and sure you've all got absolutely marvellous homes to go to, haven't you now? If you could just do your talking while you're walking, you see, that'd be awfully nice of you, yes? Good old. My favourite thing, though, is Radio 3. I love listening to Radio 3, because it's so laid back, isn't it? You know, you hear things on Radio 3 like, well, with the time rapidly approaching... 8 minutes past 6 here on Radio 3. It's high time for the 5 o'clock news. It's not going to come out of there, is it? No, never mind. But if you've been wandering around London recently, you'll have noticed that it has started to happen again. The invasion has begun. The Americans are back, aren't they? All the American tourists are back. London will soon be full of these American women with their little white ankle socks. And the 55 denier tights, and the sneakers. Why are these things called sneakers? Now, I mean, American women are hardly going to sneak up on you now, are they, really? You can normally hear either them or their clothes coming all the way from Stratford-upon-Avon. And they're normally so fat that by the time they get within 10 yards of you, the sky just goes dark, doesn't it? You know, why sneakers? And they've always got these men with them, haven't they, their husbands, who haven't quite decided what sport they're meant to be playing, have they? Yeah? Basketball boots, golf trousers, football top, baseball cap. What sport are you meant to be playing? What are you doing? You see them wandering about the tube, getting on at Charing Cross, getting off again at Embankment. Someone has got to tell them, hasn't they, really, you know? You could walk that far, you know? If you're meeting other Americans, you could probably just talk that far. You wouldn't have to travel at all. But it's 1992, and of course we all know what that means. We don't, do we, actually? We haven't got a clue. But I can tell you what it means. It means that it is now easier to travel across Europe than it is to join your local video shop. You don't need a passport and a urine sample to travel across Europe, do you? But what will happen in this country if we become more European? Imagine all the farmers in Yorkshire that have to go around kissing each other hello on market day, won't they? How do, Jack? How do, Tom? We'll have to start calling a ham and cheese toasted sandwich a croque monsieur. All our adverts will end with the phrase pour homme. Because they do it in France, don't they? On teus pour homme. We'll get that. Carling Black Label pour homme. My mate, Marmite pour homme. Lillettes pour... Oh no, not Lillettes. When am I going to meet a girl who knows how to throw away the little cellophane bits off the Lillette wrapper? I mean, it can't be that difficult, surely. You know, I mean... I split up with my last girlfriend 6 months ago and I'm still finding those little bits of cellophane in the dressing gown pocket, on the floor of the bedroom, the floor of the bathroom, floating on the water in the toilet. I went to an interview last week, the guy stared at my jacket for half an hour, bloody Lillette wrapper on there. What is it? But 1992, I thought something's going to happen in Europe, should learn a new language, so I learnt German from one of these linguaphone tapes, you know. I went over to Germany to practice my German, and I made a bit of a fool of myself, because it turns out you only have to say everything once. I was going into the shops, Guten Morgen, meine Frau. Guten Morgen, meine Frau. But the phrase books are no better, are they? You go abroad with your little phrase book. I went to Italy with my phrase book. I thought, I know, where is a tourist office? That's a useful question. Learnt that one. Needed to know. Went into a shop. Dove l'ufficio turistico? Which I thought was pretty good. And she answered. They don't tell you how to understand the answer, do they? And the money, that's another favourite one, isn't it? They always put in how much, so you can ask how much and prove that you understand the language. In France, you go in combien? Fine. How much? In Italy, quanto costa? Fine. But what happens in Italy? Quanto costa? 20, 30, 100 lire. Anyway, I should go. I was talking about the news at the start. I think one way they could brighten up the news a bit would be to get someone different to read it. You know, someone like Antoine de Caunes off Rapido. That would brighten the news up a bit, wouldn't it? Hello, my English friends, and welcome to the 6 o'clock news from the BBC in conjunction with Rapido. And today there has been a multiple pileup on the M62. Ho ho! Boom! Yes. Or Julian Clary, I think he'd be top read the news, wouldn't he, Julian? Hello.
Thank you. Well, there's been a robbery on a post office in Croydon. Police say they're looking for a large, well-built man in his late 20s. Aren't we all?
Thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of the show. Good night. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. You can tell I'm not very experienced this, but I'm getting a special compares walk, which which certainly does lead you to the end of the stage sometimes. Now, good stuff there. I'm going to mention bless you. Going to mention all the Greens, because I'm given the opportunity to mention the environment. I like to speak on behalf of the environment, because after all, I live there. And I think it's dreadful the way the world's going. It wasn't raised at all in the election. You know, that the seas off Britain are absolutely disgusting now. I mean, you can't like swim. It's so full of pollution and sewage. I mean, you can't swim in a British beach. I mean, all you can do is like go through the motions. And the North Sea... No, apparently there's more chemicals in the North Sea than in a sample of Ben Johnson's urine. It's actually... but well, he's back running now after, 2.5 years? Should have been longer, but he somehow speeded it up. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know how he did it. Let's move on. And now, there's an old show business expression which says you should quit while you're ahead, which is why we've had to bring back from the first half the storming they were in the first half. And here they are again, Death of Country Music, Rory McGrath and Phil Pope.
Thank you all very much. Phil's going to hit you with a cowboy song. Now, do we have any cowboys in the audience tonight? Now, what are you, plumbers or estate agents or what? Anyway, Phil's going to cowboy song. Okay, Phil, take it away.
Been so lonesome in the saddle since my horse died.
Thank you, Phil. I'd like to sing a love song, another love song now. It's called... What's it called, Phil?
Our love could have been poetry. Is that the one you want?
That's the one.
Right. Our love could have been poetry, but our hearts would never rhyme.
I've seen things that are good, I've seen things that are bad, things that are happy and things that are unhappy. I've seen things that are high, I've seen things that are low, things that are fast, things that are sluggish. I remember a girl, the prettiest I have seen. I was her king, she was my quail plucker. We walked arm in arm on a warm night in June. We danced by the light of a silvery-haired old gentleman. I looked in her eyes and I knew it was love. She put her hand in mine and it fit like a jumper. I remember a girl, the prettiest of my life. I asked for her hand, and now that girl's one-handed.
Last winter it was snowing in the city. The streets of town were cold and wet and gritty. And though my girl was soft and warm and pretty, I have to say the motel room was shameful and shitty.
Oh yeah, shitty.
When you walked out on me, I felt so torn apart. All I have left is this big broken hairdryer.
Now
I know just what it feels like to die. It's when I say hello and you say brake fluid.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. And that's a true story.
Okay, here's a longer cowboy song we had before, called Sons of the Wild West. Hope you like it. A long time ago in the old Wild West there lived a girl called Nancy. She was a cut above the rest, she took every young man's fancy. But the guy she married from Santa Fe liked messing with liquor and guns. He met this dancer and went away, leaving Nancy to bring up his sons. And they were two big men who made a lot of noise, and everybody'd say, there go the Nancy boys. And everyone was scared and kept out of their way, despite the fact their names were Muriel and Faye. Because their mother hated men, she dressed her boys like ladies. And one night in a drinking den, they had a fight with one of the Bradys. Muriel kicked him black and blue and chased him out of town. And that's a pretty tough thing to do for a man in an evening gown. And they were two big men who made a lot of noise, and everybody said, there go the Nancy boys. And everyone got scared and kept out of their way, but so would you if faced with a 10-gallon negligee.
Whenever the Nancys came to town, things got kind of messy. They had a feud with a guy called James, who was a bit of a Jessie, 'cause he too preferred female wear and dressing like a dame. But Muriel shot him at the county fair, 'cause their dresses were just the same.
The Nancy boys, they hit Cheyenne after 3 days on the prairie. Muriel hit this drunken man for calling him a fairy. Face it, our appearance may confuse folk now and then. But listen, mister, we're not gay, we only sleep with men. And they were two big men who made a lot of noise, and everybody'd say, there go the Nancy boys.
And everybody'd say, there go the Nancy boys.
Right, we just got to do one more here, because we feel this song sums up the philosophy of the South America we come from, south of southern states. Nashville, Tennessee is where we're from, and the philosophy of country music, I think, is summed up in this song. I hope you like it. Feel free to join in. Phil.
All right.
Feel free to join in. Okay, sorry. I have no truck for commies, I have no truck for reds, guys who got their backs against the wall. I have no truck with engines, and I have no truck with gays. In fact, I haven't got a truck at all, which actually is a piece of real bad luck, because my job is driving a truck, 'cause I'm a trucking kind of person.
I sing trucking kind of song. I have no time at all for them crazy guys who jog, who think to do is better than to talk. Really pleasant exercise you can get from a dog, or if you prefer, you can take him for a walk.
Sure can.
Jogging is for faggots, football is for me, or baseball, or any sport that you can watch on the TV, 'cause I'm a couch potato, and I sing couch potato song.
I have no time at all for them creepy vegetarians, skinny, wimpy guys who just eat grass.
That's right.
Some good red blood is what they need an injection of, like a 2-pound T-bone steak shoved up their ass.
All right.
Forever they complain of illness and fatigue, and I think that they're vegans should go back to Planet V, 'cause I'm a meat eating person. I sing meat eating song.
I have no time for shirt-lifting boom boys. They should be shot then, locked away. It's obvious to me that the good Lord doesn't like them. Why else did he make all homosexuals gay? 'Cause I'm a good God-fearing Christian. I sing good God-fearing song.
Got no time at all for all them drug-taking hippies who spend their time snorting LSD. They're too stoned to realize that stuff is suicide. They should drink a quart of whiskey just like me. The whiskey makes me angry and stops me talking sense. I've never hit a woman except in self-defense, 'cause I'm a country and western singer, and I sing country and western song.
Yes, I'm a country and western singer, and I sing country and western song. Good night and God bless America! Yeah.
Every time I come on, they take the microphones off. There's some sort of... Are you doing all right, everyone? Having a good time? Yes! What are you doing, for goodness sake? Right, there it is. We're moving along. We're just about a quarter of the way through the show now. Should be finished by about Tuesday morning. Just a couple of apologies for not coming. I'm sorry we're going to have... to anyone who thought they were seeing Heartbreak House, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you like that sort of thing. I'm sorry that if Oliver Reed was going to be here, but unfortunately couldn't be here. That's a sad thing. This is sad because he's gone the longest he's ever been without a drink just today, which is 7 yards, actually. Anyway, Neil Kinnock is still there, smiling through it all. What a magnificent set they provided us for. Capital Radio. It's great to have sponsorship from Capital Radio. An event like this without sponsorship would be like a foreign war without Kate Adie. But let's move on now to one of the top comedians. I've got this other sort of compares Twitch as well. They're sort of looking into the wings just in case they're not there. I'm going to bring on Peter Fincham, the director, if we get very desperate. But let's bring on one of the top comedians. He's not Peter Fincham, he's Eddie Izzard.
Yes. I've forgotten it all. Come on. There's people watching. There's 2 men. I forgot it all. You know, usually I come in and you hit it straight away, but not tonight. Oh well. Sorry about that. Okay, I'll do an old one. 2 men go to a pub, and it's quite nice. Boom, boom. There we go. It's an old one. My mother-in-law, she's so alkali that when you test her with litmus paper, she turns purple. That's an old chemistry one as well. Hi. Sorry, I'm just a bit pissed off. Yeah, I was watching the election. on telly, and I'm just a bit pissed off because I think everyone was, including the Conservatives. They were there saying, "Oh, fuck this, we're out now. Great, have a bath, you know, and stuff." And then back in. Oh, for fuck's sake. We're gonna privatise hedgehogs and make fish live in trees. And what? Oh, I resign. It was interesting because it was an election which I didn't think Labour lost. I just thought I don't know what I think. That was just as concise as, you know, the programme where they do 8 hours. So, well, it was over to, and Peter Snow with the swingometer, he's obviously mad. That is a bit mad, isn't it? We're saying, now, we've looked at the results, we've got 2 results in so far, and if you translate that to Uruguay, and if all the members of Parliament were wearing blue and lived in a sort of plate of quiche, they would, the House of Parliament would look like this, like a flan. And that's just something we worked out. We can do that with graphics. And I've got this big thing here, and I move it right the way over to here, and stab this guy here with it, and he's dead, you see, and then there's another election. It's a bit of a surreal night. But it's quite interesting, Help London Child, you know, charity stuff, and almost didn't make it here. I was coming in, stage doors, this kid is going, yeah. So I shot him. They just get in the way, don't they? Thought I'd just say that one. Yes. And dinosaurs. I do smooth links. Dinosaurs are really groovy because, you know, they were only discovered last century. And in America, some people dug things up and said, ooh. They found like a big tooth, they found a huge tooth and a big toe bone. They said, oh. And they handed it to this guy who was a genius. And they said, oh, what do you make of this? And apparently this guy who was a genius, he drew on the rest of the dinosaur. Which is genius con man, I think, you know. Apparently he said, well, there's a big tooth here. I see there's a big tooth here. And then from here, I think it goes like this. There's a wheel here, right? And there's an antenna here. I mean, jeez, he just drew it on, this mad person. And, of course, Darwin came up with the theory of evolution, yeah? Things evolve, he said. And so in the, with human beings, we used to be Homo erectus, yeah, years ago, Homo erectus, so, hello, vote for me. And then Homo erectus evolved into Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens much more, yeah. Tuesday be fine, yeah, no problem. So that's a sort of evolution thing. Before Homo erectus, stop laughing. Erectus means, of course, standing up, Homo erectus. Before that, there was Homo 45 degreesus. He hadn't worked out that this was really, big thigh here, you know. Homo horizontalus before that, just crawling around, oh, he's very tall, isn't he? So anyway, that's evolution. Now, 1 million years of evolution took us to Homo sapiens, right? Now, dinosaurs ran for 150 million years. That's a lot more evolution. But apparently at the beginning of 150 million years, dinosaurs were, kill him, you know, big teeth. And after 150 million years of evolution, they got to, kill him, big teeth. They didn't move at all, did they? And their names, I mean, how did they remember their names? I mean, it's a it's a Tyrannosaurus, oh, it's eating me. Big fucking names, eh? And how do you make, especially if you're a dyslexic dinosaur? Oh, there's a Trandletritus, a flying one as well, the Archipelago, the small group of islands. They couldn't have had those names. Those names also, they were Roman names. This was Latin, yeah? I mean, invented by Romans who didn't exist. That must have pissed them off, hey? We've been given names by future beings. Oh, they couldn't have had those names. Totally impossible. They must have had different names. Tyrannosaurus Rex was probably called Jeff. Look out, there's Jeff, run! Head for the hills, Jeff. A whole herd of Jeffs, run! Look out, here comes some flying, the Bryans are coming. Head for the hills. Oh, we're as big as hills, aren't we? Oh, bugger that, here comes some Sheilas. Here come the Prussian army. It's Waterloo, all right. But in the end, of course, they all died, and no one knows why. They've got theories, Ice Age, dinosaurs going, oh, it's a bit parky. And that's one theory. Another one was a meteorite, right? A meteorite landed, and everyone, oh, juddery. Okay, a meteorite lands, you know, on a place, and it caused a lot of damage. But what about all the dinosaurs on the other side of the Earth? They go, oh, it's quite noisy out there. Unless all the dinosaurs had a big meeting to discuss their evolution, and they said, look, we haven't evolved much, have we? No. And I just think it's good that we're all here because we can have a chat about this. And oh look, there's a meteorite. Or perhaps these, you know, these huge bones they found. Or apparently this guy was a genius because what he did was he found the huge tooth and he said, well, now my theory is this huge tooth is like a very large version of this small tooth belonging to this small lizard. So I say, small tooth, small lizard, big tooth, big lizard. But I say perhaps not. I say perhaps not. Perhaps small tooth, small lizard, big tooth, still small lizard. I can't eat anything, yeah? Only soup. I'm gonna die. And the big toe bone could have belonged to a small squirrel, you know, the huge toe bone. Quick, the Jeffs are coming, run. Oh, all right. Trolley, quick. Anyway. Still, they're dead now. So be careful, time. Yes. I want to talk about a heavy subject. I want to just quickly say, you know, French, speaking French, talking French. I like going. I'm into this European thing. I like going to foreign countries and going, ooh, and people go, what? And you know. Alistair was talking about it, the phrase book thing. I'm into struggling away at it. But the problem with this country, we get taught French as a second language, right? And that's a real, you know, we should all know a few words, but everyone just gets really screwed up. And the word that I got taught, I mean, you know, if you get the phrase books, you do get some decent words in there, things like hello, goodbye, where are the toilets, useful stuff to use. But the first line of French I got taught at school was complete bollocks, right? It was le singe est dans l'arbre, which translates as the monkey is in the tree. And it's just very difficult to get that one in the conversation. You've really got to crowbar that fucker in, you know? Because the classic situation, your first thing in France is you're there, you're trying to get a room for the night. You're going, hello, bonjour, une chambre, merci. Une chambre, merci, okay. Avec une douche, oui, avec une douche with a shower, yes, please, avec une douche, thank you very much. Pour deux personnes, oui, deux personnes, deux personnes. Mais... Oui, deux personnes. Mais le singe... Mais le singe est dans l'arbre. Deux personnes, oui. Avec une douche, une chambre. Mais le singe... Où est le singe? Le singe est dans l'arbre. Est-ce que le singe est dans la chambre? Non. Il n'est pas dans la chambre. It was impossible. It's impossible to use that line because there's not many monkeys hanging out in France, you know? In the end, the only way I could do it was I had to go to France with a monkey. In a haversack, eh? And I just wandered around in very heavily wooded areas of France. Waiting for people to come along, you know. Oh, quick, up. Pushed the monkey up the tree. I said, bonjour. Bonjour. Attends ici. Oui, attends ici. Bonjour. Un moment. Bonjour. Le singe est dans l'arbre. Le singe est dans l'arbre. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Et voilà. It was a hell of a holiday. In the end, it got bullshit. The monkey refused to go up the tree. In the end, I had to go up the bloody tree, and the monkey stayed on the ground. And he was there, and the people come along, and he'd go, I'm a monkey. Can't speak French. And I was up in the tree shouting, Le singe, il est sur la terre. Mais moi, je suis dans l'arbre. Mate. Anyway, I'll just finish quickly. Yes, I just want to talk very quickly about a subject which is a very heavy-duty subject, but there is a positive side to this, and it is the, it's AIDS, basically, but there's a positive side, which is the condom story. You know, condoms are out in the open, everyone's groovy about it, everyone's happy, you know. Small children go to school in condoms. If we want to buy them, we go in the shop and say, hey, condoms! Condoms for everyone. It's great. But that's good, but tampons are still, tampons is one area. We must bring them out into the open. And, you know, women are very loath to talk about it because they go to their mums when they're, you know, teenager. Mum, what's the period all about? And mum's generation is even more uptight. She goes, you know, and there you go. So, could you explain that about? Well, okay. The wind blows in the trees, the birds fly in the bees, and the bees in the wind. And I don't know. I don't live here. I'm not your mother. And we got to get it out in the open because I've looked at periods and there seems to be no positive side to periods at all. You know, for women, there's no upside. There's no, well, I've got my period this week, but at least I can legally kill people. You need to find the positive side, and the only way you can do it, because imagine if everyone knew it was your period, then it would be okay. People would give you a load of room, wouldn't they? Really back off. And you've got to do it via the tampon, I think, because that's it. You know, the tampon string, which is if you're having a relationship with someone, you say, oh, I can see a string. And instead of a short string, have a long string, right? Put bells on the end, tie-dye the piece of string. When it's that time of the month, you're around town, right? And it's giving off a signal that says, if you want to have an argument with me, you're going to lose, right? Anyway, it's something to try. Anyway, thanks very much. Good night. Cheers.
Manchester,
Yes, I was, yes.
Fucking cracker, weren't I?
I beg your pardon?
Fucking cracker, weren't I? Fucking cracker of a match.
Very enjoyable, yes.
You know, I reckon that Brian McLeod's a god, you know.
Really? Why is that?
Well, you look at the way he put away that goal.
Mm-hmm.
What else you reckon?
I don't think that's conclusive proof of his deity, no. Well, just because he turned well, beat his man and scored from 25 yards doesn't necessarily indicate divine origin, does it?
No, point taken, no. Bloody good goal, that's all. Hey, but what about that saved by Schmeichel? Miracle, eh? That was a miracle.
In what way, exactly?
In what way exactly? It was a fucking miraculous save, that's all.
Well, I think it's well within the realms of human capability to halt a ball struck with force from a distance of 20 yards. I mean, no real divine intervention needed there, I'd have thought.
No. Good save, that's all. But all I'm saying is, you know, on the day, United was the only team in it.
They were playing their reserves, were they?
You are?
Well, I was under the impression there were at least 11 members of a completely different football club there as well.
Oh, yeah, but what I'm saying is, you know, Forest couldn't have scored to save their lives.
Well, the incentive would have been that much greater, of course. Well, were they to have forfeited their lives in the event of defeat, as you suggest, then presumably their bid for victory would, as a result, have intensified quite considerably. I would have thought.
You taking the piss?
Yes.
Thank you very much. That was Angus. I was getting a bit tired looking. That was Angus Deayton and Phil Pope, and one of their cracking sketches. I'm afraid I didn't really understand. I don't understand football. I'm not really interested in it. Make no sense of it whatsoever. In fact, I'm an Arsenal supporter. But all right. Well, we're doing all right today. Yesterday. Now we're getting on towards the end of the show, but I'm afraid no one's mentioned any of these foul dog breeds that seem to be invading the country. What those nasty dogs that sort of savage people? Have anyone got one of those here? Not with you tonight, obviously, but because they're getting worse and worse. They've got a new one that's they've brought out, which is they're importing in their country. It gets a tenacious grip on its victim, never lets it go, frequently worries it to death. It's called a pit bull personal financial consultant. Anyway, that has no connection. There's 5 people who've had one, and no connection with this chair, which is the bottom of one of the most revered members of the comedy community is going to be positioned in this chair. It's going to warm up this leatherette, and we're all going to enjoy his performance. It gives me this enormous pleasure to be able to introduce one of the Monty Python team, Michael Palin.
Oh dear. The chair for the older comedian. Well, we're running a bit late, so I better hurry up. I was going to, if I may, read you a story by, which is why I put the glasses on, one of my favourite authors, Captain W.E. Johns, creator of the immortal Biggles. You know, Biggles flies east, Biggles flies west, Biggles flies south, Biggles flies on down, the usual sort of things. This was written in the 70s, which were not a good time for Captain Johns. I think he found it very hard to keep up with a changing world. Rewrote a lot of his books, desperately trying to introduce freebasing, oral sex, things like that. Desperately, and I think in the end, unnecessarily. But one of his books I do find still has an attraction for me, and I think encapsulates that period in the 1970s where everything was just absolutely wonderful, where you were in the presence of the greats. And this story is simply entitled Biggles Goes to See Bruce Springsteen.
who was alive in the 70s too. Biggles was tired. He lit a cigarette and exhaled slowly and thoughtfully. He gave a little cough, then a slightly bigger cough, then an enormous, roomy, wheezing wrench of a cough which nearly flung him off his chair. He gasped for one brief, gravelly intake of breath, but was cut short by a retching, racking, heaving, spume-ridden roar that seemed to split his chest like a sledgehammer. Oh, that was better. Suddenly, the rough wooden door of B Hut was pushed aside, and Algy entered, brandishing a newspaper. He was clearly very stoned. He clambered onto Biggles' desk and began dancing provocatively. "Hey, Algy, for bally heck's sake, watch out for those meteorological charts," cried Biggles. "Hey, man, I'm so happy," warbled Algy, his fleshy white body cavorting crazily in the flickering light of Biggles' hurricane lamp. "I can tell you're happy, Algy," countered Biggles grimly. "Look, man, look," grinned Algy, jabbing his finger at a copy of the Midshire Advertiser. His eye was drawn to an advert beneath a review of a new nature book, The Shell Guide to Dead Animals on the Motorway, which read, "Finally, Midshire is ready for Bruce Springsteen." "Who the bally heck is Bruce Springsteen?" queried Biggles testily. "Who is Bruce Springsteen? Where have you been all these years, man? Under a rock?" Biggles hated Algy when he was like this. He would talk all hip and come out with silly suggestions like getting Bob Marley to play the Royal Tournament, and commissioning Pink Floyd to write a new march for the Fleet Air Arm. On this particular day, Squadron Leader Bigglesworth was in no mood for Algy's little games. "Look, Algy, go and lie down. We've got some heavy flying tomorrow." Biggles' remarks seemed to send Algy into paroxysms of helpless laughter, and he fell back against the wall, grabbing at Biggles' huge "We Rule It" map of the world. A tear appeared just outside Barcelona, and running across Europe, down through the Caucasus, it was accelerating into southern Assam when Algy toppled helplessly off the filing cabinet and onto the floor. He lay there shaking, the southern hemisphere draped across his stomach. "Oh, that's good, man. That's so good. You're beautiful, man." Biggles could stand it no longer. In a couple of strides, he was beside Algy. Well, actually, he was a little beyond him. One stride would probably have been enough in that small room. He turned and took half a stride back. But that took him too far the other way, and when he bent down, he couldn't quite reach Algy. So he stood up and went back to where he'd originally started from, and this time took only one stride. It brought him right up beside Algy. In fact, a little too close to him this time. He'd overcompensated and now could hardly bend down at all. He took half a stride back and tried again. This time he found himself in quite an interesting position astride Algy's body. At that moment, the rough wooden door of B Hut was suddenly pushed aside again, and Ginger entered. "Oh, I'm sorry, Biggles," he declared quickly, and was about to leave again when Biggles stopped him. No, come in, old chap. You can help me." It's not my scene, sir, but thanks all the same," muttered Ginger coldly, and turned to go. No, Ginger, Ginger cut him short. "You don't have to apologise to me, sir. I know what goes on in the RAF. I know there are times when we all need something more than just comradeship. We need a shoulder to cry on, a hand to hold sometimes, someone to feel close to, somebody to be near when times are hard. But why Algy, for God's sake? He's so bally podgy for a start. Cut it out, Ginger," snapped Biggles, "and get out of my small hut." "If that's the way you want it," countered Ginger evenly, "I'm sure the vitally important information can wait until tomorrow." Biggles looked up sharply. "I'm sorry, Ginger. I'm tired, that's all. Come on in." He motioned him to a chair. Biggles sat down and lit a cigarette. "Well, spill the gin, Ginger," he asked, as he drew heavily on the thin blue smoke. "Bruce Springsteen's coming to the Midshire Odeon, sir." Biggles exhaled slowly. He coughed. Involuntarily at first, then with a quick throat-clearing rumble, which developed into an uncontrollable, shattering, rasping, sepulchral rattle of mucus and phlegm, which nearly turned his lungs inside out. Oh, God, what a cough! The Midshire Odeon had never seen anything like it. Their previous highest attendance had been 10, when Michael Dennison and Darcy Gray toured in 1927,
with the Arthur Spendlove partially nude aerial ballet, who were arrested during the performance. "I'm so bally excited I can hardly keep this kite on course," shouted Algy from the cockpit as the twin-engined Hilton Morgan biplane headed for Midshire International Airport. Ginger was reading. "Born to Run is a work of complete and unadulterated genius. It makes the Sistine Chapel look like the toilets at Millwall Football Club." He had in his hands a huge book called 6,423 Wonderful Things About Bruce Springsteen and was navigating with his feet. "This scruffy, shaggy, diminutive little genius from New Jersey makes Virginia Woolf sound like Arthur Scott." Suddenly Ginger lowered the book and a trace of anxiety crept into his otherwise quite unanxious voice. "You have got the tickets, haven't you, Algy?" "Sure thing, Ginger. I've tucked them into my flying suit where no one will find them," shouted Algy above the roar of the two 17-horsepower Spengler and Cottesford single-cam engines. Ginger grimaced. Algy always put the tickets down there, and although they were safe, they were pretty nasty and sweaty by the time he got to the concert. "I say, Algy," he shouted, "do you think I could have my ticket now?" "OK, I'll have a go," bellowed Algy, and leaning back began to undo his flying costume. Biggles looked up in alarm. "Put it away, Algy, for God's sake," he bawled, remembering Algy's unusual penchant for exposing himself in light planes. "Just looking for the bally tickets, old bean," reassured Algy. Biggles ruminated on how much nicer Algy was when he talked like that, when suddenly Algy turned, a dawning look of horror settling across his handsome, non-spotty features. "Oh, shit!" conjectured Algy. "Wash your mouth out," ordered Biggles. "Shit!" repeated Algy. "They're gone! The fucking tickets have gone!" Biggles slapped Algy hard across the face. "Don't you dare use language like that aboard this twin-engine Hilton Morgan biplane." Algy turned and gave Biggles 6 left jabs and a swinging right to the jaw. Biggles hurtled towards the back of the plane, hit his head a glancing blow on the first aid kit, and slumped into unconsciousness. "I gotta see Bruce!" screamed Ginger. "I gotta see him! I gotta see the rock sensation of the 70s! I'm gonna jump!" "Don't be a fool!" yelled Algy. "There's only one parachute." "And I'm wearing it!" roared Ginger in triumph, pushing Algy aside and hurling himself out of the plane. "No, you're not!" screamed Algy over the roar of the engines. Ginger paused in mid-fall. Algy was right. What he had thought was the parachute ripcord was only his hearing aid. He pulled it hopefully, but it just came out of his ear. "Don't worry, I'm coming after you. We'll get to see Springsteen," yelled Algy as he clambered out of the plane and dropped towards Ginger. "Don't forget the parachute!" screamed the accelerating Ginger. "Oh, shit!" ejaculated Algy. When Biggles came round, he realised he was the only one left on the plane. He dragged himself into the cockpit, grabbed the joystick, and eased himself into the controls. He looked down at the frozen countryside below him. Algy and Ginger were awfully close to the field. It was a pity, really. He had liked them both, but what were two rather stock fictional characters compared to the greatest white musical talent to emerge in America this decade? Biggles settled into his seat and smiled to himself as he felt the cool, crisp assurance of the 2 front circle tickets in the lining of his old flying jacket. Finally, Biggles was ready for Bruce Springsteen. Thank you.
Well done. I'm Michael Palin. Now we're steaming towards the end of the show, and I hope you've been... So was that a yawn or an orgasmic sigh? We sound so similar when I'm doing it. Now, it's been... It's been a joy. It's been a joy here. It's not my normal job, this. As you probably tell, I'm really a barrister. You can know what that is. You can look it up in any dictionary. It comes between bastard and bankrupt. And I've been extracted a little bit away by showbiz. I do keep in touch with the developments in the law. What with the election and everything, they are, because they are planning this new divorce procedure, much more speeded up divorce procedure, which is going to come. Anyone interested in divorce? I don't suppose anyone here's divorce at all, but the old system was a rather tiresome system, which they're trying to get rid of. The old system, a boy meets girl, they think they fall in love, maybe get married, have a few children, they fall out, decide they hate each other, have to go to solicitors, barristers, argue over money, property, access, custody, all that. And they're sweeping all that away. And it's much more efficient, quickie system they're bringing in now. And this new system, all you do is find yourself a girl you don't like and buy her a house. And it's so much easier. Now, we're coming to... They're all too young for that joke, I think, but it'll come your way now. We're coming to arguably the end of the evening, and somebody who, just rolling back the years, I seem to have introduced on different shows right back to about 1979. I think I first met him. In those days, Britain was suffering from an economic disaster. Had elected a Conservative government. John Major was a non-entity. Neil Kinnock was just a university standard debating figure. So much has changed since then. In those days, I was just bumbling along, trying to think of the next joke as we went on. And this comedian was coming out full of punch and delivery, and as far as I can tell, he hasn't lost any of his verve or energy, but he has been crying, sadly, backstage all night, having written all the one-liners for the Labour Party leadership, and, as usual, seeing it dwell into dust. But it's great for his career because it means he can still slag off the government, which remains remorselessly Conservative. But let's have a big cheer for one of the most energetic, entertaining, wonderful comedians who I hope has turned up by now. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Elton.
So you see, people always watch Clive on telly and they just presume he isn't a smug bastard in real life, but now you know. Fabulous introduction. An energetic comedian. I love that, Clive. Fuck you. So anyway, actually, seriously, to nail something, I have written no lines for any politicians. I keep my lines to myself, and I get paid for them. And I wouldn't have written any lines for this election because the whole debate was around the economy. And that seems to me to be a pointless area for the politicians to discuss because obviously none of them understand it. I mean, nobody understands the economy. It's too big. It's too broad. The economy is something that happens to us, you know? We can't affect... I mean, be honest, you reckon you're as bright as Major or Kinnock? Of course, you don't understand the fucking economy. Anna Ford comes on the telly, does the economic bit, you know, just after the friendly item about the panda that can't get an erection. You know that bit? She says the 1.2 Dow Jones fell against a basket of... You know, what the fuck's going on? I don't know what's happening. It's the same with the Chancellor. Anna Ford is... I'm making a cup of tea. I don't understand this. Look, if anyone could understand the economy, they could control it, but it's too big. It's a world thing. They can't even predict it. Crashes. A crash just happens. Out of the blue, the Chancellor's getting paid. Oh, sorry, it's a crash. I didn't fucking know. I mean, Anna Ford says they're calling it Black Monday. We've lost $40 billion. Now, what's happened that day? Have all the rivers dried up? Have the crops withered on the vine? No, nothing has happened, but we've lost $40 billion. How do you lose $40 billion? I'm ringing them up saying, look, have you looked properly? Try behind the sofa. Think, where did you last have it, for God's sake? Next day, Anna Ford says it's getting worse. They're calling it Oh Shit Tuesday. We've lost another $40 billion. Nothing's happened. Nobody understands. They go, and now to our financial correspondent. Well, I'm in the city with a bunch of dickheads in stripy shirts. They're all shaking their fists at television screens. They're watching Neighbours. I swear it. They show us the Japanese stock exchange. They're all running around with their hands in the air. I go, what the fuck's going on? I'll give you two. Look, here. We want to understand the economy. I'll give you two economic facts. The United States is the richest country in the world, right? That's a fact. Also, the United States owes more money than any other country in the world. You go figure. You got a mortgage you can't pay, just borrow another 4,000 or 5,000 billion and you'll be richer than the American government. It's simple. It's all apparently about confidence. That's what economics is. It's about confidence. Confidence in the pound, right? Not us. Not you and me. Our confidence is irrelevant. It is the confidence of a bunch of lazy tossers in the city who never built anything, designed anything, made anything, composed anything, painted anything, did anything useful in their entire fucking lives, but it's about their confidence, right? We get home, the end of each day, we've been at work all day, we turn on the telly and Anna tells us about whether these people feel confident or not. We're going, oh, do they feel? No, I don't feel confident today, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you're out of a fucking job tomorrow, mate. I'm not feeling too tasty, you know? I mean, crash could happen for any reason. You've got some city yuppie, he's having a wee in the city toilets, right? And he hears they're selling another bit of the third world. He thinks, oh, God, I could be making money out there. Oh, God, and he rushes his wee. Forgets to shake the end. He rushes out. He knows he's got a little patch there. He's looking a bit dodgy. Everyone goes, he's lost his confidence. Wallop, it's a crash. Everybody's out of a fucking job. We can't play this game. The confidence game. Not you and me. You can't go in a pub and say, oh, look, John, I've got this quid here and, well, quite frankly, I feel very good about it, actually. Oh, yeah. So I won't deny. Earlier today, it had dropped considerably, but since then, it's rallied. It's this little quid, it's rallied. It's surged. That's what's happened. You wouldn't have a yen or a dollar behind the counter. I could compare it. No, we have to take my word for it. So on the strength of this remarkable surge of confidence, I'll have 12 double whiskies. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Clive took the opportunity, score a few cheap points, but I think tonight... I love him. I need the work. I think tonight we need to come together. We need to be together as a country, as a nation. We need to find the things that unify us. Let's forget the divisive nature of what's been going on the last few weeks. Let's try and think natural law. Let's try and levitate together and be a one community. I mean, look, I'll tell you what, I'll share something with you that I think affects us all. I think it's important to get things out in the open and we'd understand us. Like, I don't know about you, but I can't stand people hearing my noises. You know? Like if you're in a toilet, you know. I'd do anything to stop a complete stranger hearing me go pop. What's the problem? I'm in the toilet, I hear there's someone out there, I'm clenching up, I'll wait him out. I mean, why? I might never meet him again, but if he hears my splosh, I'll have to kill myself. Fucker's drying his hands on the hand dryer. It's going to take him a year. I'm waiting a I was in this toilet the other day. It was brilliant, actually. It was an empty toilet. I thought, great. I like really big, noisy, exuberant shit. No one on it, right? Well, obviously, it wasn't entirely empty. It's a public toilet. Obviously, there was the ferryman who's there to puddle you across the puddle of piss. You know what I mean? So I get out the other side, you know, I tip the ferryman, wade ashore through the ripples of the piss lake, as you do. Choosing my toilet. Oh! Which of this dazzling collage of primeval swamps shall I entrust my pristine bottom to today? Not the first one, obviously, been kicked to death by some friend of humanity, right? Obviously not the second cubicle. Recently vacated by the gentleman with the sprinkler attachment on his arsehole. There is shit everywhere. It's on the walls, on the ceiling. The guy must have been having a crap standing on his head. I bet no one in this theatre's ever left the toilet in that state. Who is this bastard? Maybe man, the shit just goes around in a bucket. Oh, there you go, leave again. Can't go in the third one. Previous bloke hasn't flushed it. You don't like to use the toilet, hasn't been flushed. What's the mentality behind these people who don't flush public toilets? Fucking not bothering to flush it. I've had my shit, I don't care. It's not my toilet, why should I flush it? I don't own it, it's got nothing to do with me, bollocks. I'm not going to flush it. And also, when it hadn't been flushed, have a glance in. What you do? It's always enormous. Like a chocolate Swiss roll, eh? The guy's obviously thought, now that is too beautiful to kill. Somebody's going to enjoy looking at that as much as I am. See, quite often, when it ain't been flushed, there's a horrible thing. You look at it and there's no paper. Just a turd, there's no paper. I mean, what sort of animal? It's got, right, that's it, look, you know. I suppose we should be greatly bothered to pull his trousers up. I mean, what's that? So I'm obviously not going in there. Last toilet, not too bad. Quite clean. Get in there, fair enough, right? Spend half an hour balancing bits of paper on the toilet seat, as you do, you know. Try and sit down, the air movement caused by your bottom wafts them off, and there you go. They should put a bit of blue tack in there so you can glue the paper down, shouldn't you? I mean, that's what the paper's for, isn't it? I mean, it's not for cleaning you, is it? I mean, it's like a sheet of hardboard, you know? I mean, not absorbent. Now, let's be honest, you know? I mean, you start off with a relatively clean bum, before you know it, you smeared it up the back of your spine. And your head, you're going to stand under the hairdryer, chip it off, so obviously I get... Sat there. No lock on the toilet door. It's been kicked off. Some bastard, same bloke didn't flush up my fucking toilet. I kicked the fucking toilet. It's not mine, I don't own it. It's nothing to do with me. Kick the lock up, right? So I know I'm going to have to sit there with my foot jammed against the door. So I sit there and jam my foot, the bastard opens outwards. Ah! I have to sit stretched out, holding on to these little bits of splintered screw and a couple of bits of hardboard with my fingernails. Because I'm that paranoid and uptight that I'd rather have my fingernails torn out than have anyone see me having a shit. What's wrong with me? I sat there, ready to go. There is another bloke getting out of the ferry. He tips the man, wades ashore through the best lake. He's choosing his cubicle. I'm clenching up. Oh, God, please let him just have a wee. No! He's looking for a cubicle, can't go in a broken one. Obviously not whirly splat, you'd be out of your mind. He goes in the one that hasn't been flushed next to me. We are divided by a sheet of hardboard. It doesn't even touch the ground. Why not? Just another 6 inches of hardboard for a bit of human dignity. I mean, what's it for? Ankle fetishists? Whoa, look at that. We're both tense, we know each other is there, we are locked in a primeval struggle. Who's going to crack and let the other person hear his splosh? I'm not going to do it, I'm waiting. He's thinking he was in there first, he'll have to do it, so I try. Do a tiny, just a blinker and get out the bloody door. No good, it's like smacking an old dead haddock on a lake, half a gallon of water straight up me bum. Probably by the bloke didn't flush it, he thought, well, let's sluice me out, poor man's B-day, that'll dry in the sun. The sound is incredible. The bloke next door's head's banging against the cubicles with the pressure. In the moment of the anxiety, whoop, out comes a little fart. I've heard his fart, he's heard my splosh. Neither of us can move. We might meet each other outside and die of embarrassment. We are locked together forever. There is another bloke getting out of the ferry. He tips the ferryman, wades ashore through the ripples up the best lake, choosing his cubicle. Can't go in the broken one. He'll have to go in whirly splat. You can hear a lengthy papering process. He's got a stepladder and a bucket, he's doing it properly. 3 of us sat there, none of us can move. A 4th bloke is choosing his cubicle. There's 4 of us now, and he can't find a cubicle. He's going to have to wait because the broken one, he can't use it. He's going to have to wait for somebody to come out. But I can't move because he's heard my splosh, and he can't move because I've heard his fart. And the bloke here can't move because he's an horrible, shitty, fucked up, splatty one. And if he goes out and the other bloke goes in, that bloke will think he did it. There wasn't a lot of talk about women's issues in the election this time. I noticed on the Telegraph today, Major the ladies' man. He's got 2 women in the cabinet now. But sexism is everywhere and it's never being addressed in this theatre tonight. You'll remember at the interval. I mean, I believe a decent, honest government should put more ladies' toilets in every theatre. I mean, let's be honest, you know? Sat there in a queue, you know? Oh, a couple of femmes in there, there we go, nice one. Ladies and gentlemen, sexism everywhere. I just used to do a routine. It made me wonder, about contraception, been a bit of talk of condoms tonight. Contraception. Now, who do you think it was that invented the various forms of contraception available? Now, I don't know who it was, but I posit a guess that it was a bloke. Yes. Because I think, let's just take a roll up for Ben's Consumer Guide to Contraception, right? On the ladies' side, you've got 3 basic choices, all right? You can either take a little pill, which may give you thrombosis and will certainly cause acne. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Or you may prefer a little rubber pudding basin, which you're instructed to fill with spermicidal napalm. Oh, really gets you in the mood for a shag, that, doesn't it, girls, eh? You're thinking, if this stuff kills 6 million sperms, what's it doing to the inside of my fanny then? Well, it'd have to cross your mind. I mean, it is not exactly an aphrodisiac, is it? The old rubber pudding basin, it's 11:30 at night. Oh, do you really want to shag? Oh, all right, look, stay out the bathroom. It's not a pretty sight. You're staggering. 11:30 at night, 1 perdo, 2 men in the bathroom spinning round your head. You've been trying to locate your little sick trigger for the last half hour, but you haven't got the guts to do it. Oh, God, I've got to put this in. Dig out the old pudding basin, fill it with napalm. I think I'd better put the old tube in. I don't want to get pregnant by him, for God's sake. There you are. You're completely pissed. You've forgotten to take your knickers off. You're stabbing away, trying to... You can see 3 gussets and you know only one of them is real, you know. Steadying yourself, leg up on a toilet. Here we go. There's napalm dribbling down your leg. You can hear him snoring. You think, I'm going to wake him up and make him shag me if I have to put it in a splint. So they're trying to wrestle it up. It's squidging around. Oh, you really... you never know exactly. Is it in the right position? Am I safe? Because, you know, no funny looks like those stupid devil's horn diagrams on the clinic wall. You're trying to... Is it... Oh, one of it shoots across the bathroom there. Have another fag. It's gone behind the toilet. You're trying to get out. Oh, I must clean that bog out, you fish. Pick all the hairs off, you know, well, they may be yours, but you're not going to put them back, are you? Rinse it out under the tap, fill it with napalm. Oh, fuck, I filled it with Colgate. Trying to work out whether fluoride has the same effect on sperm as it does on plaque. There you are, trying to... I've seen them shoot across the bathroom. I'm a bit of a new man. I've been there, I've caught a few. It's like, oh, regular grobbler. Me, they should train footballers like that. Give a whole new meaning to the term capped for England, wouldn't it? So there's either that, or as a third option, the lady may choose, for swearing the pill and the rubber pudding basin, to have a bit of barbed wire stuck up her. Right, that's the three ladies' methods. Right, on the gentleman's side, what is on offer? What has the scientific establishment come up with over all their centuries of research? Rubber Johnny. That's it. It's all they could think of. Well, you cover it up, it stops all the business, doesn't it, Rubber Johnny? It works. That's all you need. And men, quite extraordinarily, for swearing their great piece of good fortune in only being after to slip a bit of Rubber Johnny on, they object. They don't like it. I don't like Rubber Johnnies. It spoils my sensitivity, doesn't it? I mean, because I love you, darling, and I like us to know each other bodily, and I like to feel yourself and my lovely self, and, you know, because it's sort of not sensitive, darling, and I love you, darling, because I love you. It's important to me that I feel and touch you. I love you, darling, so go on, stick a bit of barbed wire up your backs. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to throw me out now because we've got to get a drink. Be careful about drink. Actually, I have to be a bit careful of booze because it is a drug. And I do this drinking set and it's stupid. You shouldn't because it's a drug and I'm addicted. I tried cold turkey, didn't work, too pissed to keep it down. I mean, it's a... People are weird about drink. Always boasting. You should have seen us last night. You should have seen us. We were throwing up. Oh, lovely. Oh, well, I'll come next time. That sounds great. You live in a strange, reverse world when you're drunk. Now you saw a parallel universe where good is bad and bad is good. What a fantastic night we had last night, eh? We could not walk. We could not talk. You get the same effect when you break your spine, you know, it's a lot cheaper. It lasts forever. And the funny, drink is the only social ill for which you get no sympathy, right? If you drink, nobody's interested. Your mum, everybody, you got a hangover, right? I've got no sympathy. Well, you should have expected it. You're a silly boy. You never should have brung it on yourself. You got a hangover, a headache. It's your fault. You never should have done it. Nobody told you never should have done it. Well, what about the hang gliderer who breaks his or her legs hurtling off a cliff, eh? Does anyone force them to entrust their lives to a sheet of polythene? No. They get plenty of sympathy when they're pureed on the rocks below, don't they? Nobody ever sent a helicopter for me when I couldn't get out the fucking pub. No, but there they are. I'm looking at them, I'm saying, look, you silly bastard, look, you should have been up the pub with me. I've got a headache, you can't fucking walk, can you? Ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to be here, to be able to aid in somewhat in this excellent charity. Well, it's a tragedy that needs a charity. And that's the truth, it bust my way out of that. Oh, dear, filled my trousers. So... But I should like to say that I'm here, so obviously I support it. I shall continue to support it, but in the long run, charity will never be the solution because the problems are far too big. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great pleasure to see you. Thank you very much indeed. My name's Ben Elton. Good night!
Right. Well done, Ben Elton. And there it is. I could listen to that stuff for hours. I think we did. But anyway, thank you very much for coming along. That is the show. We've supported a charity by just being here and paying out the money and stuff like that, which is a great support charity. But thank you for coming along. It's all over now. Now push off. My name's Clive Anderson. Good night.